I can't believe what's happening in Ashburn right now. 3 explosive developments that will change everything you thought about this season. We have a head coach who just silenced all the haters, an unknown player who might be our next Jeremy, Chinn, and 5 commanders showing a superstar mentality that has me excited. If you thought we were done surprising you, you're completely crazy. Stay until the end because what's coming will leave you speechless. Starting with what we saw on day 3 of the mandatory minicamp. And let me tell you this, when I see 5 players standing out like that, it tells me the culture Dan Quinn is building is real. Remember when we used to leave these minicamps? More worried than excited? Well, those days are over. Let's start with Chris Moore. And I want you to understand something. The man is 31 years old and fighting like a rookie. Do you know why? Because he understands that nothing is handed to you in the NFL. With Michael Gallup and Noah Brown injured during minicamp, Moore saw his chance and took it. He made 3 impressive catches on day 3, showcasing the reliable hands that characterized him in Cincinnati. But do you know what I love most about Moore's situation? He's not here just to put up numbers. This guy is here to fight for a spot in a receiving room that already includes Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Jalen Lane, and possibly Brown and Gallup when they're back. That's warrior mentality, and I respect that above all else. Now let's talk about Carlin Viggers, and this is important. When an undrafted free agent has experts saying he and McDaniel are the most likely to make the roster, something special is happening. This 6'2" guy is playing deep safety, slot, outside cornerback, everything. And he's not just playing these positions, he's dominating them. His interception on day 3 during team drills wasn't luck, it was instinct. Reading the quarterback, being in the right place, and making the play when it counts. You know how tough it is for an undrafted rookie to stand out in an NFL minicamp. But Viggers makes it look easy. I think this speaks to something bigger. Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. know how to develop talent in the secondary. Look at what they did with Jeremy Chinn last year. Now they're seeing something similar in Viggers, and it gets me excited about what this defense can become. Luke McCaffrey entered his second offseason with a mission. This guy doesn't want to be a practice player. He wants to be an integral part of Cliff Kingsbury's offense. And what did he do? He worked with his brother Christian all offseason. And I tell you, when you have that family mentality of excellence, something big comes out of it. The touchdown he scored on day 3 wasn't just a pretty play. It was a statement. It was telling. The coaches, I belong here. I deserve more targets. I can be the perfect complement to Terry and Deebo. His speed improved, his routes are sharper, and he has that hunger you need to see in a second-year player. But do you know what impresses me most about McCaffrey? That he understands competition will only make him better. With Samuel, Gallup, Brown, and Osborne in the room, he could have been intimidated. Instead, he's using that competition as fuel. Chris Rodriguez Jr. came to this minicamp with something to prove, and I can see the difference. Dan Quinn publicly praised his improved conditioning, saying he looks leaner, more explosive. But do you know what really tells me this guy is serious? That he did all this work on his own time, during the offseason, without anyone asking him. The running back room is loaded. Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, Chris Rodriguez Jr., Jeremy McNichols, and now rookie Jackery Krosky-Merritt. That means every rep, every touch, every practice matters. Rodriguez understands this and is responding with the best shape of his life. I saw what he did when he had opportunities last year. He was aggressive, made every touch count, showed that won't go down easy mentality. But the trust wasn't fully there for the playoffs. Now he's trying to change that narrative, and I respect that. And finally, Deebo Samuel Sr. is silencing all these keyboard warriors who thought they could judge a Pro Bowler based on a jog-through. Please, these same experts who probably never stepped on a football field wanted to tell us Deebo was washed up. Do you know what I saw on day 3? I saw explosiveness, elusiveness, a player who arrived in great shape with renewed focus. The team's social media had to post a video of him making an impressive catch and run to shut down these engagement farmers. And I love that they did. If that surprises you, Wait to hear this, because what's coming could completely change our defense and prove that Adam Peters is smarter than we thought. Robert McDaniel, Jackson State. Undrafted free agent. 6'2", 211 pounds. Does that sound familiar? I'll tell you exactly who it reminds me of. Jeremy Chinn, when he came here from Carolina as a throwaway player nobody wanted. But first, let's talk about why losing Chinn hurt so much. This guy came here after Carolina dumped him for not fitting Ivero's 3-4 system. And what happened under Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr.? He had the best season of his career, became the heart of our defense, and showed that versatility that drives offensive coordinators crazy. Jeremy could play deep safety, drop down to cover tight ends, blitz from any angle, cover the slot. It was like having a Swiss Army knife in the secondary. And what did Las Vegas do? They offered so much money that Adam Peters couldn't, or wouldn't, match it. I get Peters' decision from a salary cap standpoint, but that doesn't mean it didn't hurt. Because when you have a player who can do everything Chinn could do, replacing him isn't easy, or at least that's what we thought. Enter Robert McDaniel, and I want you to understand what's happening here. Linnell Willingham, from 1067. The Fan, and that guy knows what he's talking about, saw McDaniel playing deep safety on day 3. He saw him working the slot. He saw him as an outside cornerback. Do you know what that means? It means Quinn and Witt are seeing the same versatility they saw in Chinn. But McDaniel isn't just a project. This guy is executing in every position where they put him. Williamson says he and Carlin Viggers are the UDFA's most likely to make the roster. When was the last time we heard a local expert talk this way about an undrafted rookie in the secondary? Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you McDaniel is going to be Jeremy Chinn from day 1. That would be irresponsible and unfair to the kid. But what I am going to tell you is this. If he has the same body type, the same versatility, and is landing in the hands of the coaches who perfected using Chinn, why can't he be special? Will Harris and Quan Martin are our projected starters, and I have no problem with that. Harris comes from Detroit with experience. Martin showed flashes last year. But behind them, what do we have? Percy Butler, who's been here but never made that leap. Jeremy Reeves, who is solid but limited. Tyler Owens, who made the roster as a UDFA last year but is still developing. See the pattern? None of those players have that physical versatility that gives offensive coordinators nightmares. McDaniel does. And here's the part that really excites me. If McDaniel continues progressing like this during training camp, if he dominates preseason like Chinn did when he arrived here, Peters will have to make a serious decision. Do you keep the known veteran or bet on the rookie with the higher ceiling? I think the answer is obvious. This team is in win-now mode. If McDaniel can deliver the same impact as Chinn, or even 80% of that impact, at a fraction of the cost, it's fantastic for our salary cap and our future. And when you thought we were done with surprises, when you thought we had seen everything this organization can do differently, here comes the really crazy part. Dan Quinn just did something no other head coach of the Commanders had done in years. Listen up. Dan Quinn just did something I needed to hear since we signed Deebo Samuel. Something that reminded me why this man was the right choice to be our head coach. These social media experts, these engagement farmers who don't know the difference between a slant route and a post route, saw a video of an installation drill, a jog through, and rushed to say Deebo was slow, out of shape, washed up. And do you know what Quinn did? He didn't stay silent like other coaches we've had. He didn't let the false narrative take control. He stepped up and said exactly what needed to be said. Deebo impressed me for a different reason than I thought. He was such a difficult person to tackle, and at some point, I forgot until I got out here how fast he is. It didn't surprise me, but maybe I missed talking about it because it was easily reminded. He is one of the fastest players on the team. Bam! That's how you stand up for your player. That's how you lead a team. I believe this shows precisely why Quinn is the head coach this team needed. Look, we've had coaches who hid behind generic phrases when their players were attacked. We've had coaches who allowed the negative narrative to grow without doing anything to stop it. Dan Quinn is not like that. This man understands that when you have a locker room full of players betting everything on you, when you have veterans who came here specifically to play for you, your job as a leader is to protect them. Your job is to ensure they know you have their back when the outside world is attacking them. Remember all those years we watched other teams acquire elite veteran receivers while we settled for what we had? Remember when we watched teams like Dallas, Philadelphia, and New York make bold moves while we played it safe? Well, those days are over. Now we have a receiver who's been a multiple-time Pro Bowler, who's won playoff games, who knows what it takes to succeed at the highest level of this league. And when keyboard warriors try to attack him, our head coach comes out and says, "That man is one of the fastest on my team." The Commanders had to release a video on social media showing Debo making an explosive catch and run during day 3 practice because these internet engagement farmers know nothing about football. And you know what? I love that they did. I love that this organization is willing to fight for its players on social media. That's culture. That's what happens when you have leadership that understands this isn't just business, it's family. When you attack one of ours, you attack all of us. Samuel has worked exceptionally hard during the offseason, and I have been following his workouts. The man showed up in great physical shape, with renewed focus, ready to prove everyone who doubted him completely wrong. And we have his back every step of the way. But do you know what I like most about this situation? That Samuel heard all the criticism. He knows what people are saying. Instead of responding on Twitter, instead of fighting with trolls, he's responding where it matters, on the field. Quinn also mentioned something these social media experts didn't understand. How difficult it is to tackle Samuel. That's not just speed, that's strength, that's balance. That's the ability to break tackles that makes linebackers and safeties look foolish. Now I ask you, when was the last time we saw this organization publicly defend its players like this? When was the last time we had a head coach who wouldn't allow the team to be attacked without responding with strength? Ron Rivera was a good man, but he wasn't this type of leader. Joe Gibbs was incredible, but that was in a different era. Dan Quinn is the modern era coach who understands that leadership in 2025 requires standing up for your people both on and off the field. Washington is on the brink of something special, and I think this public defense of Samuel is just a glimpse of what's to come. Those in power, Peters, Quinn, Josh Harris, all believe Samuel can help us make that final leap. This is the fresh start he's been wanting since things got weird in San Francisco. Maximizing this opportunity can only mean good things for both the player and the organization. Because when you have a head coach willing to fight for you publicly, when you have an organization ready to defend your name on social media, it creates an environment where players want to give everything they have. And who knows? Maybe this becomes more than a one-year relationship if everything goes according to plan. Maybe Samuel sees what's being built here and says, I want to be part of this long term. Look, I've covered this team for years, seen the highs and lows, been here when we won those playoffs last year and through all the losing seasons before. But what I'm seeing now is completely different. This organization, from Josh Harris, at the top to the UDFAs fighting to make the roster, from Adam Peters making smart moves to Dan Quinn leading with heart, from veterans like Samuel to rookies like McDaniel, everyone is building something special. Do you think McDaniel could be our next Jeremy Chinn? Do you believe Quinn was right to defend Debo like that? Which of these 5 minicamp players do you think will have the biggest impact this season? Are you as excited as I am about what's coming? Let me know in the comments because I want to hear your thoughts. This isn't just my platform. This is our Commanders family. We're a community living and breathing burgundy and gold from the DMV to the entire nation, and each of you makes this channel what it is. If this content got you as hyped as I am, if you want to keep being part of this family that's growing every day, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell, because tomorrow we're going to have more explosive news you can't miss. Hit like if you think Quinn is the right coach to lead this team to a Super Bowl. Subscribe if you believe this will be our season to make history, and comment on which of these news stories you're most excited about for training camp, because I guarantee this is just the beginning of something big. And remember, we're more than a team. We're family. Hail to the Commanders.